Blogging versus podcasting. This question comes up especially when you are beginning to produce content to go out into the world. So today I'm going to share with you some pros and cons about both blogging and podcasting and give you 4 simple questions to ask yourself before you make the decision. All right, let's jump into it. Welcome to the All Small Productivity Podcast, and I am so glad that you are here today. We are dedicated to helping content creators to be able to produce quality content while balancing work, family, and your faith. So whether you are listening on a podcast platform or you are watching on YouTube, right here on YouTube, at Amber N. Davis, All Small. We're so glad that you're here. I'm Amber, and I am here with the fabulous Logan Rodman.
Thank you. Hello.
Who is a social media, she does all my social media stuff. She's amazing. She is awesome. So we are talking today about some fun stuff about blogging versus podcasting.
I am so excited for this episode.
But we've got our tea.
Oh, we have our tea.
So yes. So we've got
this was such
mugs.
a compliment. Amber gave me that "You are an amazing woman" glass.
It's a true story.
But it has a weird lip. So if I spill it on myself,
it does.
It is what it is.
It does have a weird lip, and I spill it on myself when I drink out of that mug. So
I've done good so far.
You're doing great.
So
you're doing great.
But if you look at me and I have like just tea all over me,
right?
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. But you still look fabulous. Yeah.
Hey, you do too.
I've got this mug that I got in San Diego, and I love it. It's blue.
It's good. It's a good mug.
It's blue.
I'm going to have to start bringing my own mug, and we'll have mug stories.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'll do.
Please, because I love mugs. And my kids were like, you've got a problem.
Oh, too many mugs.
You've got to get rid of some of these. So I did purge and got rid of a lot of my mugs.
Good for you.
But I have some mugs that are real special because some people have given me really special mugs, and it's got a little fun story behind it.
Oh, so. Yeah. I love mug stories. I think it's good. It's a new little episode here.
Yeah, that's right. A little thing we do. Yeah.
Mug
which
stories.
Is the tea. And then today we're drinking my favorite, like what I call over-the-counter tea, like you get at grocery store, which is Bigelow tea. And it is green tea with mint, and I drink that all day long. I love it.
Shout out to Bigelow tea. It's good. That's what I have.
Love it.
And it's yummy.
It is yummy. And I like raw honey in it.
Yeah, so good.
Super yummy.
Yep. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you, everyone. We would love, as you're watching or listening, if you'll comment, leave us a review, subscribe, like, all the things. You can connect with us on YouTube, on wherever you're listening on podcasts, Instagram. All the links are in the descriptions. We would just love to hear from you. And we have a few people who comment on the last few episodes.
I think these came from the first episode, or at least the first
and it's
couple
on
of
YouTube. So the first is Hannah McCaskill, which actually I'm pretty sure this is Hannah Moore.
Yes.
But her username, she needs to change it, Hannah, is Hannah McCaskill 3351.
So if you make a comment,
go comment.
Logan will tell you what to change about your comment.
Change your username. Don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. But Hannah left a really awesome comment.
She did. She's awesome.
I'm going to share it. She said, "You guys, this is awesome. I watched this to be supportive. I didn't think the subject would really apply to me in my life, but boy, did it. This is really good advice for all of life, not just for content creators. If you're planning a schedule, best ways to clean your house, best ways to tackle debt, really anything you want to accomplish in everyday life, these are excellent steps to get you started on that journey. I was blown away, and I love you guys. Keep up the good work."
Oh, that's so nice.
So sweet. Yes.
And she took the time to put that comment, like to type it. Because, I mean, that's not lost on us because you take the time to actually go in and type in the comment.
Yes.
That means a lot.
Yes. So thank you, Hannah. Nice. That was really sweet. And then the next one's from my mom.
Your mom is amazing.
She's so awesome. She's so supportive.
She is supportive.
Truly so supportive.
She's sweet.
But she said, this is so good and not only helpful for those that are creators, but these are great tips to just become more productive in general. I'm currently working on a presentation to give at a conference, and the brain dumping and just taking a few pieces in small bits is exactly what I needed to put my presentation together.
That's so great.
Yeah, I'm really excited for her. She's about to do this really big like public speaking presentation for her work.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really excited for her. So I know, I sent it to a few people. I was like, you should listen to our podcast. Right. And it's just awesome. They're supportive, and then they also get nuggets from it.
Yes.
So it's been good.
I love the fact that like both of them specifically said that they didn't think that necessarily that the topic was for them, or that they didn't get out of it necessarily specifically about content creation or whatever, but it still applies.
Yeah, it's life tips.
So I love that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So. And, Amber has this really awesome freebie that you can get, and she'll tell you about it. But this is like, again, it's not necessarily just for content creators.
That's
I
true.
would say.
Yeah.
Like this is for everyday life. So do you want to tell them more?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important to be able to plan out your week. I call it generate a plan for your week. And I share about how to generate a plan for your week and give you a guide and checklist on how to be able to do that so that you can produce content, or if you're not a content creator, you can be able to use it just to plan out your week in general and be able to also, with work-life balance, add in the responsibilities of personal life with what you need to get done for work, but you do it in a way, and actually it only takes 30 to 45 minutes to do this particular thing that I teach you every single week, only 30 to 45 minutes, which is awesome. But go to amberndavis.com and get my free teaching on the best way to plan your week. And it comes with the guide and checklist. That's amberndavis.com.
It's so good. If you haven't downloaded it, definitely go do that.
Yes. And once you download it, you also get to be a part of my weekly subscription newsletter,
which are also so good.
Oh, you're so encouraging.
Truly, everything Amber puts out, it just has the best nuggets and just tips. It's so good.
You're so nice.
Well, it's rapid fire fun question time.
Woohoo.
I like we need
that.
A jingle.
Yes. Yeah. I told Chow we might
rapid
put something
fire
up.
Fun questions. Here we go. Okay.
With Amber and Logan.
I like it. Last time we talked about singing, and now I'm taking voice lessons with Amber.
That's awesome. Yes.
Okay. How are you with the where do you want to eat question?
Okay. So I usually know exactly where I want to eat. In my life, I'll say the majority of my life, I'm like,
this is what I
always know the answer to this question.
Okay.
But lately, when my husband and I, if it's just my husband and I going out to get something to eat, it's like I kind of like, I don't know. What do you want? And I'm like, what is wrong with me?
It's the back and
never been
forth
this way before. But typically, because I can eat the same thing every day for the rest of my life.
Same.
What is it? What do you eat?
Oh, no. It goes in shifts, but like I get stuck on like one thing for a while.
Oh, you get stuck on one thing. Like I could eat soup every day for the rest of my life.
Oh, I cannot do that.
Okay, no, you can do that.
I like soup a lot, but in the warmer months, I'm not a soup fan.
Oh, okay. So
My soup is seasonal.
You're a seasonal soup lover.
I'm a seasonal super.
So I'm a seasonal super. That's who I am. I'm going to get a t-shirt.
Yeah, seasonal super.
That's funny. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm an all year super.
Yeah.
That'll be on my t-shirt.
Anytime. Soup. Yeah. Soup me.
Soup all the time. So I literally think about when my husband says, where do you want to eat? I literally think about, well, he doesn't really say that. He just, we're going to go out to eat. And then I start thinking, what kind of soup do I want?
That's hilarious. You choose where you want to go based off your soup choices. That's wonderful.
I do.
Wow.
I really do.
What's your favorite soup?
Tortilla soup. Chicken tortilla soup is my favorite soup. And I have specific places and I rank them by who has the best one.
Who is the best?
Well, there's a local place here in the Nashville area. That's called El Camal.
Okay.
And they have phenomenal chicken tortilla soup.
We go there a lot because I like Mexican food.
The only thing I eat there, I don't know what their other stuff tastes like.
Oh, okay.
For like 20 years, I've been having their soup.
You just eat their soup?
Oh, yeah, every time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, every time.
I love that.
And then Chewy's, which is a chain.
Love Chewy's, yeah.
Chicken tortilla soup.
So good.
So phenomenal.
Okay, well, in the fall, I will try the Chewy's chicken.
Okay. Yes.
But right now, it's a little warm.
Okay, so what about you? With
this is funny because a lot of times I will just be like, do you want to eat here? When me and my husband are talking. And I will list off like 5 options, and he's shutting all of them down. And then I'm like, well, where do you want to eat? And he's like, I don't know.
That's funny.
So it's a fun time. And a lot of times we'll end up at like one of the 5 places we go to, right?
Okay.
I don't feel like there's a lot of in Mount Juliet or in like our area to go to, or where we live.
Right.
You have to like go into Nashville, and that's not fun to do anymore.
Right.
It's really rare that we do that. We did go to Bar Taco last weekend.
Okay, that's good.
Love Bar Taco.
Yes.
Super good. But you have to travel, like, and you have to, it's a commitment.
So I wonder if your husband, if he thinks, okay, look, when you're asking him where to eat, if he has a thought, what place has the best da-da-da-da?
Oh, maybe.
I wonder if he's got that.
I'm going to have to ask him that.
Like, does he get the same thing when he goes out to eat?
No, he actually changes it up. He makes fun of me because I always get the same thing. If I find something I like at a restaurant, that's what I'm getting.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, I can think of 5 restaurants right now off the top of my head, and I've only had one thing on their menu.
And it was soup?
And almost every one of them soup. One was a salad.
Yeah. I'm the same though. It's not with soup or salad, but once I'm like, I think I'll like this, and if it's good, that's what I get. Yeah. Okay. I think most people are like that, right? You
I don't think most people are like that.
You don't? They like change it up every time?
I think people, I don't know. Put in the comments and we'll find out. Are you a changer upper? Are you a every time
know what you're getting at certain places?
Yeah.
I'd
like to know. Yeah, I'd like to know.
How many times do you change outfits before you go out?
3. I try to do rapid fire.
I don't change that often. I just stare at my clothes until I decide what I like.
Okay.
How are you or your family with deciding what to watch?
Horrible.
We don't watch anything. We don't watch anything.
I'm super
We're really
picky.
bad about it too.
I'm super picky. Obviously, we've talked about this, about what we watch. So my kids don't want to watch a war documentary.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. And then if I'm super picky about all the things. So we have a problem with, we're just like, flip, Netflix, flip. And then we'll just like, okay, I don't want to watch anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what my husband does. And I'll be like, why don't we watch that? And he's like, no. Why don't we watch that? And he's like, no. And then it's the same with the food.
Yes.
Yeah. He just shuts me down the whole time and then decides what he wants, or we turn it off.
See, I am your husband and my husband is you, because that's exactly what happens.
Why do we do this? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so that way.
So same. So
yeah. So we want to know in the comments too, are you like that with when you watch, like, you know, whatever's on, like the Netflix or the whatever, Amazon or whatever you watch, wherever you watch stuff, or you just
a lot of times, well, we've talked about this before, it ends up being some kind of kid show in my house right now. We have little kids, so
there's too many choices.
There's really,
it's overwhelming.
Really it's really that. Now that we have all of it like accessible at our fingertips, there's too many options.
It is. It's way too many options.
You used to just watch what was on TV at 7:00.
Right.
And now you're like, I could watch literally anything. And
then you don't watch anything because
and then you don't.
You can't make a
decision. It's overwhelming.
Right. And that's actually one of the reason why I chose blog versus podcast is because there's so many different ways that you can produce content.
Yes.
As a content creator, there's like so many ways.
Truly.
You can produce content. You could write copy for somebody's website. That's producing content. You could make reels for Instagram. That's content. You could shoot videos for YouTube. That's content. You could write for somebody else, like, you know, help with them producing content. I mean, there's ridiculous amounts of ways that you can actually produce content. And so, but what I was thinking is I get a lot of questions about blogging and podcasting. So that's why I wanted to be able to jump into those.
Let's do it. I'm so excited. Clearly, I was like, forget the questions.
Yes!
Let's go into it.
I just wanted to I know some people really like the questions. So I thought,
I do too. It's fun.
So it is fun.
Give us the goods, Amber.
Okay, here we go. So blog versus podcast, where should I begin? The first is I want to give you the difference between blogging and audio podcasting versus video podcasting.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's a difference. So blogging, if you're blogging, then they're essentially articles that you are writing. So think about like a column for a newspaper or an article for a magazine. But you're writing an article, and you're posting it somewhere that people can get, hopefully on a consistent basis.
Okay.
They have access to it in one place.
Right.
So if you are writing an article for somebody else, like for their magazine, and then you write an article for somebody else's magazine, that's not blogging because you're just writing articles for different magazines, which is great because you can then be noted at the bottom of that article, check out your blog at your website, because you're getting them back to your website, which I'll talk about later. But so a blog is but a blog is that it's usually housed on a website. It's housed on a landing page. So the difference between just a website and a landing page is website is going to be more complicated or more complex.
Okay.
It's going to have multiple different pages to it. You can get just a landing page, and there's many places that you can do that. You could get a landing page, which is just one page that you have that somebody can go to on the internet. They can go to one page, and that's called a landing page. And you can get a landing page through different venues, like MailChimp is a place that you can get a landing page, as an example. And it's a lot less expensive than buying a website like platform that you have to pay monthly for. These landing pages are, they could be anywhere from like $12 to $20 a month, maybe at that. A lot of them are free.
Yeah.
So you can get a free landing page, and you can link, what's it called? Linktree. That's another place that a lot of people will do, like blogs, or it'll link to something and then they can link it to like a MailChimp or something like that. So that's a blog. So a vlog, it's a whole nother side thing, is a video version of that.
Okay.
So if you are capturing video and you have, instead of a written article, you just have a quick little video embedded into your landing page or embedded into your website page, that's a vlog.
Okay.
Now, some people will call a vlog, like they'll do a YouTube vlog and they'll have it on YouTube, and that's where you're just journaling your life.
Right.
And so that's like a different type of vlog that you can do on YouTube, but it's more of journaling. There's not a format to it necessarily. It's almost like a short or a reel that's just long form.
Right.
It's longer.
Right.
And you're just journaling what you did that day, or things that you want to give information about that day. And so it gets really gray area because some people will have a vlog, but then is it really a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Or is it a how-to video, or is it a vlog? It kind of gets gray.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just writing something, that would be a blog or an article that you could write. Now, if it comes to a podcast, there's two different kinds of podcasts. So you have audio podcasts and you have video podcasts. So an audio podcast is where you're just on a platform and it's just audio. There's no video to it. So people can listen to it. I highly recommend Buzzsprout for audio podcasting. Phenomenal. Super user-friendly. I use it. We use it for this podcast. And at the end of this podcast, there's a link. There's a QR code at the very end of this podcast that you can click on, and it will it'll give you my referral.
Yeah.
And you'll get a discount to go to use Buzzsprout, which is great.
Yeah.
So Buzzsprout is the audio. It's great for audio podcasting. Video podcasting is more complicated. I did 67 episodes of All Small Productivity Podcast. Before that, it was Be Encouraged Today podcast, but I kept it on the same platform. I kept it on the same podcast so that people could find me. So I just changed the name to All Small Productivity Podcast. But there's 67 audio episodes of it, and it's out there. If you're listening right now on the podcast, you see that because you see that this is episode 74 on the audio podcast. But on video, this is episode 7.
Right.
So, but the video podcast is more complicated because with an audio podcast, you can get started very quickly. All you need is a mic and you need some kind of software to be able to capture the sound. When I first started, I did it through Zoom. I had a Zoom account, and I just captured a video. I recorded a video of me, and I used the audio from that video.
Okay.
And so I didn't have to do a lot of finagling with different equipment because I just did it. I had a mic that I plugged into my computer, into my laptop. I recorded Zoom, like my Zoom audio on there, which was a video. And then I just downloaded that audio onto whatever editing software that you want to use.
Right.
I used Audition, which is in the Adobe Suite. So if somebody has an Adobe Suite Cloud, so it has all the things. It has Adobe Photoshop. It has Adobe Premiere. It has all the things. Yeah. But we have that. So, and we've had it for years. And if you have a student in your house, you can actually get a student discount for it.
Oh, cool.
Which is a great discount. But the audio version, you just download it into that. And then you can upload it through Buzzsprout, so it's not as complicated. When you do a video podcast, which is why we waited, because we wanted to do it well. The last episode we talked about doing something good. Yes. Do it good. Do it well. So with a video podcast, it's more complicated with that.
Yeah.
Number one, if you're having just one person, it keeps it pretty simple because you just need that one mic. You can do Audition. You can do all those things. And even if you're interviewing somebody, if you did it through Zoom, you could do it that way. When you have another person on the podcast, like you fabulous Logan, if you have a fabulous Logan on your podcast, it's way more complicated because you don't make it complicated. Yes. It's way more complicated to have Logan on here. Oh my goodness. But the equipment that it takes to have two people in the same room doing a podcast.
2 cameras, all the things.
You need 2 cameras, you need 2 mics. You can't just use the mics into the computers. You've got to plug them into the different audio to capture it separately, and then you need somebody to edit that. And so it does make it more complicated.
Thank you, Chad, by the way. That's why we have a Dad Chavis Productions.
Yes.
We're super thankful for
my
him.
husband's production company records and edits all of this because I would not be able to do it. That's why I didn't do it before, because he didn't have the bandwidth to do it at that time. And I just kept doing the audio podcast. So I say all that to say those are the differences. So you have a blog, which is written. You have an podcast, which is spoken. And that's the main difference between those. Now, what's better to do? First things first is that you want to, I'm going to give you 4 questions to ask yourself.
Okay.
There's so many things. I have so much information right now that I want to
going
share.
into your brain.
And I'm like, I can't share it all because it'll be too long. But, oh my goodness, I have so much that I want to share about this. So I'm going to have to do another podcast regarding some things about the podcasting and the video podcasting and that, because there's some other things. But
these are if you have questions that come up, drop them in the comments for Amber so we know for future episodes too.
Yeah, because I can actually take the questions that people put in the comments and I can create a podcast around those questions to help people. So number 4, these are 4 things to be able to ask yourself or to be able to think through. 1, which are you better, writing or speaking?
That's important.
I mean, that's it.
Like first question for sure.
Yeah, because you don't want to think, okay, what is somebody, I really like this guy and he's doing this great video podcast. Well, he might be like super great speaking. My husband and I just talked about this earlier, is that when you see somebody doing something in a skill set that they are really good at doing and they've been gifted to do that skill set and they do it at a high level, they make it look really, really easy.
For sure.
And we can get in a trap of thinking, I can do that. That looks super easy.
Yeah.
But it's also what they're doing. It's like stand-up comedians. If they're good, they're really good, they make it look so easy.
Right.
But then if somebody gets up there and try to tell a joke, it's like, what are they doing? You know? Because it does take time. It does take art to do that. I mean, it takes skill to do that. Sure. And so that's not by any means to discourage people from doing this.
Yeah,
but
do it scared. Just make sure you can do it well.
Yeah.
Again.
You don't have to do it perfect, and you don't have to do it great. Just do it well.
Yeah.
Just do it good. And so what are you good at? Are you good at writing, or are you good at speaking? And your first gut response answer to that is going to be the tell.
That's it. Yeah.
You can't think about it. It's just like, what are you better at doing?
Yeah. Whatever you thought of when Amber said that, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're better at speaking or you're better at writing. And I like doing both. I mean, I love writing and I love speaking. So it was really hard because I like doing both, and I've done both for years.
Yes.
But I would say that I have a little bit more of an edge on speaking. So that's why I jumped into doing audio podcasting.
Yeah.
So that's the first question. Second question is, where does your audience hang out? Because if your audience, some people are like, well, is blogging like in the past? Like, who needs blogging? Well, I'll tell you who needs blogging.
It's definitely not. I read blogs every day.
Okay, you tell me. Okay, what blogs do you read? Like, not necessarily like the actual person, but why do you go to a blog?
Oh, well, recipes are like, there's a lot of recipe blogs. That's like one of the things I look at every day. You think about that. And then, I'm on a lot of mommy blogs.
Yeah.
So with just the season of life for me.
But why
personally.
blogs and not video?
Oh, a lot of times, especially this goes back into my season of life. If I'm nursing or laying down with a child for nap time or something, I can't listen to a video.
So good.
I can't always listen. So
that's so true. And it goes, even if you don't have little kids and you're like laying in bed at the end of the night and your spouse is asleep.
Yeah.
And you want to, that's what works. Or if you just want to take a trip to Disney World and you need the best resorts to go to at Disney World, you don't have time to watch a video, you want a checklist, and you go to a blog for that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many reasons to go to a blog. I go to a blog for, like, what are the best flowers to plant in the spring or something. And I just need a list.
Yes.
If I need a how-to, I typically will go to a video. But if I need a list of something,
I agree.
I'm going to go to a blog.
Yeah, I agree.
Every time. And so, but where is your audience hanging out? Does your audience hang out where that... would they typically go to YouTube? And and I think just by us talking about this, it also comes about like what style, what kind. Because if you're doing a how-to, video might be better. If you're making lists for people, or you're just, being able to encourage people or give them some quick information, a blog's great for that.
Yeah.
So when people ask me blog or podcast or, whatever, it is about what are you better at doing and where do your people hang out? And with that, know that they're both valuable. They're both huge.
Yes.
And blogs are definitely needed out there. Number 3 is, what resources do you have to help you? Like, I'll use myself as an example. My husband didn't have the bandwidth to help me with video production. So I was going to have to learn how to edit video and put it on YouTube and do all the things.
Right.
And I didn't have the bandwidth for that either.
Yeah.
So I just continued to do audio. So that helped me make that decision.
Well, and that was better than not doing it at all.
Right. Yes. So do something, get started, but just know, okay, what are your resources?
Yeah.
I know somebody who is this amazing man of God who came to me about blogging and was asking me about blogging. And he just wanted to be able to share because his wife had went on to be with Jesus, and he just had all this on his heart, and he has little kids, and he was just getting some information, and he wanted to be able to share it with some people. And so he started a blog, and he started a newsletter, and it goes out to his listeners or to his readers and subscribers. And he just sends this out. He doesn't have a platform that the blog is on. He just sends it out.
Yeah.
As an email, which you can do through that MailChimp. You can create that.
Yeah.
You can do email. I really highly recommend that. Eventually getting to a place where people are subscribing to your email list, because you can speak directly to your audience that way. But that's what he does. And it's so powerful. And that's the resource he has. He doesn't have some fancy pants website.
Yeah.
He just has a little landing page where you can subscribe to his newsletter, and then he sends it out once a week.
That's great.
And it's wonderful. And it ministers and helps so many people. And he's growing it. Number 4, what can you commit to doing consistently? So if you are just writing, you love writing and you're writing a lot, and you can commit to writing and putting out, I highly recommend weekly content. Put it out weekly. If you can put it out weekly and on the same day weekly is even better. But if you can put it out weekly and you can be consistent, then that's a decision that it helps make. If you cannot be consistent with a podcast or a video podcast or anything like that, but you can be consistent with written content, then do that.
Yeah.
I know somebody that I can think of right now who's a mom, and she does a newsletter, and she has that. She has an audio podcast that she started, but then she started noticing that she wasn't as consistent with that, but she can be really consistent with her newsletter that goes out weekly.
Yes.
So her audio podcast she creates, but she sends a weekly newsletter, and she just attaches it to that.
That's good.
That newsletter when she can. But the newsletter's consistent.
Yes.
So she decided, okay, well, I can be consistent with this. So those 4 questions are really important. Which are you better at writing or speaking? Where does your audience hang out? What resources do you have to help you? And what can you commit to doing consistently? And if you are looking at starting a podcast, I highly recommend Buzzsprout. Again, I already talked about this a little bit, but you can see my referral QR code at the end of this video podcast. And then if you're listening to this on an audio podcast, it's in the show notes.
Yes.
So those are some quick tips about blogging versus
That was
podcasting.
so good. Yeah,
Okay,
it's so good.
good.
And I think, if you're listening and you're thinking of, all these questions, okay, like I know this is what I want to do. Where do I go now? Remember to comment down below wherever you're listening, and you can connect with Amber on all of her social media platforms too. All of those links are in the show notes as well. And it's just so good. That was just so good and helpful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. And please, yes, like and subscribe and comment. So I can also take that information and create other podcast topics, because it really does. It helps me to know because the whole point of this is to make your life easier and to be able to get you this information and to help you. So also another way to help you, please go to amberndavis.com and get that free teaching that I have on there about how to be able to, the best way actually, to plan your week so that you can balance work, family, and faith while you produce your content. So we're so glad that you joined us today for the All Small Productivity Podcast. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
All Small Productivity Podcast is brought to you by myself, Amber N. Davis, using the podcasting platform Buzzsprout, which I highly recommend. Recording and editing is done by my husband's company, Dad Chavis Productions. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember to go all small for big productivity. We'll see you next week.